What's up? On the dyno today we have the world's cleanest FK8 Civic Type R. We're going to tune it with Hondata Flashpro, and we're going to do some runs on a factory calibration and then see what kind of power we can find. So this car has a PRL air intake, PRL front mounted intercooler. I actually made the downpipe for it. It's all 3-inch, and it has a sequence manufacturing boost actuated titanium exhaust. I'm sure you'll be able to hear it. How it's pretty quiet when it's just running, and then once we give it a little throttle, it really comes to life. It's about 300 degrees outside and 222% humidity, so it's kind of like worst case scenario for trying to make power on this car, especially with how heat sensitive they are. And if you're not familiar with these, basically they like to shoot the rods out of them with any type of power, any type of additional RPM, so they're super sensitive, and they're also limited on horsepower by the fuel system. Their direct injection and the factory fuel pump is the deciding factor on how much power you can make, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. These things also ride the knock sensors pretty hard, so we'll have to play with some sensitivity stuff and just try and make sure everything stays happy. The last thing I want to do is make a phone call and have to, let's say, that the rods are laying on the floor, so we're going to try to avoid that and try and pick up some power as well. So got the baseline runs out of the way, and let's start making some modifications. Alright, gotta wait 3 or 4 hours for it to flash, and this one we're just going to use a Hondata base map and see what the power difference is. I would imagine that this the difference between the factory file and this file is going to be much larger than this file versus once we start making some adjustments and changes and stuff. But once this thing finishes loading, we'll make a couple runs like this and see where we're at. So the Hondata map had a pretty significant jump in power. In the mid-range, everything's basically maxed out, especially fuel-wise. So we're going to see if we can't creep the power up at the upper RPMs. And I'm going to take some baby steps and just see if we can slowly increase it. So let's see what happens. Picked up 11 horsepower so far, not too bad. Here's the Hondata Flash versus where we currently are. Blue bean, Hondata, red bean with some modifications. Alright, so here you can see the difference, the blue being the factory calibration, the red being the Hondata reflash, and then the green with some quote-unquote custom tuning. Pretty significant difference all the way around, so definitely something worthwhile. We've completely maxed out the fuel pump. There's nothing left in it, so it can't make any more. And the logs are nice and clean. We don't have any kind of knock retard going on, and we're going to call it good here. Here's the Hondata flash versus tuning on this screen. Doesn't look because of the scaling, the difference looks a little bit smaller. But it's kind of interesting as I've actually pulled a lot of boost out of it down here, and actually seem to like it more. So anytime I can have less boost and more horsepower makes me happy. Alright, that's going to do it for the world's cleanest Type R. As you can see, if you were on the fence about it, the Hondata Flashpro is very worthwhile to purchase, even if you just use the off-the-shelf maps or whatever they call it for Hondata. And then at the same time, once you get into the custom tuning side of things, there's some more power to be had. The power on this and the actual gains from the bass lines were exactly as expected, and we're at 100% duty cycle on the fuel pump, so we can't make any more power. So I mean, you know, you'll see some people claiming higher numbers. It's just that the dynos read differently, which is fine. The big thing is just making sure that the gains from where you started and where you're ending up are, you know, what you were looking for, and maxing everything out. And then the other thing that's pretty important is we had zero knock retard on any of the higher powered runs. Trying to get a little more aggressive, introduce a little bit of retard, so pulled it back out, and now everything's nice and happy. So if you like watching this type of stuff, make sure you subscribe, and we do all kinds of different videos of cars on the dyno and befores and afters and big power stuff and testing and whatever else. So if that's something that you're into, hopefully we'll see you again.